Hey Dina.
Hey, Natalie.
Do you like scary movies?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you do. We watch scary movies once a week, for spooky time.
Yes.
Do you think our tolerators like scary movies?
Oh, for sure. Who doesn't?
Because they're the fucking coolest.
Exactly.
But do you ever find yourself after a scary movie thinking really hard about the themes that are represented in those horror movies?
Nope. Small brain, no think.
What about how women are represented in the horror genre?
Oh, nope. I should. I probably should.
How about how easy it is for me to say whore instead of horror and how anxious I am about it all the time? Well, maybe what you should do and what our tolerators should do, if you're a horror fan, consider checking out Plug It Up, a podcast about horror tropes that explore the monstrous feminine. Do you know what the monstrous feminine is?
No.
It's this trope in horror where when a woman comes of age, she becomes a monster.
What?
So
I hate that.
In Plug It Up, it's a gender-inclusive feminist space that explores the monstrous feminine with humor and vulnerability, which the tolerators are already funny and vulnerable.
They sure are.
The host, Caitlin Grant, who's super great, looks at the horrors of coming of age via the monstrous menstruation. Did I say menstruation right? Monstrous menstruation trope in movies. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's when a woman gets her period and becomes a monster.
Wow, that's kind of messed up.
It's happened in movies like Carrie, Ginger Snaps, and The Witch. So it's happened so many times, and I haven't noticed that I have to listen to a podcast to be aware that this is how women are portrayed in horror movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed.
Caitlin also tackles the potential terrors of parenthood. Yikes. We know how I feel about
Big
parenthood.
Yikes.
Via the monstrous motherhood. Can you kind of guess what that one would be?
Oh, no. They become a mother and then become a monster?
You hit it.
Dang, I'm learning!
You're
Look
learning.
How much I'm already learning from this podcast!
I swear that this is what would happen after I had a baby.
Oh, definitely.
So that trope happens in movies like Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, and The Babadook. So if you're a tolerator and you really like horror and very candid guest stories, because also she asks her guest at the end of every episode what a horrible period story that they have is.
Oof.
We
all got them.
Give it a listen. Plug It Up is available wherever you get your podcasts. Tolerators, this is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with your hosts, Natalie Katona
and Dina Alcative.
On this podcast, Dina and I explore some of the relationships we've had with men. We thank them for the lessons they gave us, talk a little bit about how we grew, and then leave them or ourselves with some positive manifestations we hope for everyone's future. Today, we're going to be walking you through some relationships we've had on the World Wide Web.
Oh no.
Do people still call it the World Wide Web?
The internet.
The internet? Was I aging myself?
You were. Like hardcore.
Dina, were some of your relationships online ever on dial-up still?
I think the furthest back mine went was MSN. Which may have been right after dial-up, I think.
I'm pretty sure I started at least my relationships with all of my Neopets during dial-up.
Oh my god, Neopets. I wonder if that still exists.
I've seen on TikTok that you can still get into Neopets.
Damn. That's RuneScape level. RuneScape has survived somehow, too.
If people are still getting into their Neopets, or Penguin Club.
Oh my god, I forgot about Penguin Club.
I don't think I ever had a Penguin Club, but if
I knew about it. I don't think I had it. I had a Neopets for a little bit.
Oh, I had multiple
yeah.
Neopets because you could have like 6, and why just like stop at 1?
All of them.
So my first internet foray into romance, I think, was on dial-up because I just remember like being so excited when the like noise would happen, and it would be like,
and then it would open
right
at the end,
and it would be a guy that I liked, and I'd be like, oh yeah, it's down. And then like my aunt would call my mom or something, and like it would just all come crashing down. I'd be like, get off the phone! I'm trying to be in love.
And this is like before video, right? So it's all like text.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, as we know, is my foray.
Oh. I don't know if you're joking or not, because I feel like you prefer the face to face.
So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that evolution and why I think that like internet relationships were more of my jam when I was younger compared to now, where I want nothing to do with them.
I see. Yeah.
So picture this. I am anywhere between the ages of 13 to 15. Because time is a social construct, and I don't actually know what age I met my milestones. My milestones.
Relatable.
So AIM is sweeping the nation, and I have friends who are bad influences. So me and this girl in my neighborhood would just like lie to men on the internet about our age, sex, and location. I don't think we actually lied about our sex, but we would definitely lie about our age and location. Now, I was too anxious to do the chat rooms things because those still felt like very dangerous. It still felt like I was too young to see a penis, and yet I knew I would see a penis in a chat room. Like, I wasn't hitting up like Hot Singles of New Orleans or whatever the chat rooms were called.
Isn't it funny that like when you were that age, I mean it's not funny at all, but isn't it funny how when you saw like a picture of a penis back then you were like ah! Like you like freaked the fuck out, like it was I don't know, like it was a bomb or something.
I still don't want a surprise dick pic on my phone. Have I talked about that rule? Like, I tell every man who I will actively send dirty messages to and pictures, like, I don't want to see your dick though. I will, like, no one wants a dick on, like, no one wants to open their phone in the middle of their workday and then be presented with your penis. They're not beautiful.
It's very aggressive.
And you can't, like, dress them up to be beautiful.
No, like, you can't put a hat on it and make it cute. Like, that's not gonna make it better.
I just feel like because I watch a lot of TikToks, there are like crocheted accessories that could be used. Like, and I just know that I'm opening our DMs up for like, you don't think a penis is cute? Aha! This one is a sunflower, and it's just like a dick, and over the shaft is like a crocheted sunflower.
Might be cute. We should start a business making dick hats. You know what? Nowadays, I bet there's business for everything.
I've seen crocheted dicks on TikTok. I've seen
the crocheted interesting
boobies on TikTok. Like, you know what? Send us your inappropriate dick wears.
I like looking at them. I don't know if I would have one in my home. Maybe a very pretty vagina, crocheted vagina would be nice.
I do love naked lady art. I do. I follow everyone's naked lady art on TikTok and on Etsy. So you know what? Drop me an Etsy link. We're off topic. I wouldn't go into chat rooms because I didn't want to see any penises. I just didn't want to do it. But my friend in the neighborhood, she would go into the chat rooms, and then she would just, and then she would form these relationships with men who were strangers. and we would both talk to them. So there was one guy who was like this girl's like committed like AIM boyfriend or whatever, like they were committed. But I knew that like my friend in the neighborhood, she told everyone that they were like, you're my committed AIM boyfriend. Like everyone was her committed AIM boyfriend.
Damn.
And I am just very monogamous. I can only focus on one person at a time. I have a lot of attention issues. So I have to hyper focus on one person at a time. And it was this guy. And when I feel like his like username was like cool guy and then like a sling of numbers. And like when I say that I stayed up, like remember how computers used to get like insanely hot if you left them on for hours?
They still do usually, but yes.
Cool. So my sister would be asleep because the computer was in her room. And my insomniac ass, instead of like watching sad like country music videos on CRL or whatever, would just talk to this guy all night long. Like he'd be like, I just don't know how I feel about your friend anymore. I feel like she's really distant. And I would like ingrain myself in all of their drama.
Oh my God, the drama.
I was like, oh my God, does she seem distant? I just don't know. And then they had like a fake internet breakup. And then I was like, we can still be friends though. I care about you so much.
You don't though.
No, I did.
You really did? Oh shit.
So I would be like, I just care about you so much. Like, you're so important to me. Because, like, when I was, like, 15 and manic, everyone was so important to me. I'm like, you're so important to me. I think about you every day. I can't wait for us to be talking. And, like, literally just staying up until 3 a.m. talking to a stranger.
Oh, my God.
Did my parents at any point when my sister complained, it's always 102 degrees in my room, Natalie is click-clacking all night long on the computer. Did my parents at any point go, what is our daughter doing until 3 a.m. on the internet? No, they took the easy route. They took the computer out of my sister's room and they just put it in my room.
Oh my God. Why do you think that is? What did they think you were doing?
Maybe they wanted me to get kidnapped. I don't know.
Dang. Sometimes you're just like, how are they so oblivious, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think I'm doing? Click, 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 clicking. It's not just Neopets.
Right.
Like, and it's like the early internet. So it's not like we have a lot of options. You're either telling a man in New Orleans that you are a 22-year-old voluptuous blonde lady named Cecilia, or that's all that we were doing. That's all we were doing on the internet.
I love that.
But like
Cecilia, so specific.
This guy knew that like how old I was, and he was my age too, or he was catfishing me. And maybe he was a couple years older, and like it was the mystery of it all. And like we would just like plan our future. Like I love a plan for the future where we would like meet up and how that would go and how the sparks would be. It was all very like romantic and fake. Yes. Then one time, this same neighborhood friend like met a guy online that was in like the next town over. And, like, he wanted to meet up all the time, right? Because he was in the next town over. But this is, like, 2003. It's not the age of 2021 where you actively go out to meet strangers on the internet and just hope for the best. Like, we had Degrassi episodes that were like, you will get kidnapped and murdered if you go and meet strangers on the internet. It was like Stranger Danger Palooza. So we wouldn't ever go meet him. And then one day on AIM, he like messaged me and he's like, I saw you at the football game. Cause like, the town where his school was playing my school. And he's like, I saw you at the football game. I know it. And I'm like, No.
Were you there? So you were at the football
I was always
game.
At the football game.
Oh, okay. Because I never went to football games, so...
No. And he's like, I did. And then he described my t-shirt.
How, wait, he knew what you looked like?
My bitch friend must have sent him a picture of us or something.
What the hell?
Not safe. That's not internet safety in the 2003s.
Yikes.
So then I cooled it. Mm-hmm. I cooled it on
AIM.
Because that's scary.
It's too real. It's too real.
It moved out of a fantasy where I was just like setting myself up for a romantic grown-up relationship.
Right.
And it became like some guy who I didn't know was like at the same place with me and knew what I looked like. Too real.
Oh, too real.
But then another neighborhood friend, a guy, comes over one night and he's like, I think you would really like this site. And I'm like, why? He's like, you like that Dungeons and Dragons shit, and like I think you would like this site. And I'm like, okay. And like I'm in high school at this point. So I'm either a freshman or a sophomore or something. And he goes, it's called Gaia Online.
Oh no.
And I like looked it up and I was like, it's this anime bullshit that I don't watch. People no. And he's like, no, Namley, no. You like write stories out. You love to tell stories. I'm like, I do love to tell stories. So I created like my little avatar and like, okay, this is how Gaia would go down. So you would like have forums in different like subjects. I was usually just in the fantasy role-playing game little sub forum. And then you would like, and then it'd be like role-playing, princess and thief kidnapping. And I'd click on it because that was my shit. I was like, I love to be a princess who's kidnapped.
Just the complete stereotype. Right. Straight in for it.
I went straight in. I'm kidnapped, but then he has a heart of gold, and I like seduce him away from murdering me, and we're in love. And that's what I would do. And then I would get like a little bit more bold. And then you would just like do the fade to black, and then you go to the DMs. And when I say, once again, I entered a monogamous relationship with some man on the internet. Like, I can't even be a hoe online. I enter a monogamous relationship with a guy on the site. We do all of the Princess and Thief RPGs together. And we fade to black and we take it to the DMs. And when I say that, like, his character... like, because he was, like, a magic character. He had, like, magical abilities, like, you found out. Like, we had, like, generations. It was, like, the Outlander series, where it was, like, a 7-part series of our characters. We were the same characters every time. I think at some point we had kids.
Oh my god! This is so intense.
Where it, like, started with me being a princess, him kidnapping me, us, like, doing sex stuff in a cave, him bringing me back to my castle home, him becoming my prince husband, and then, like, fade to black, he's, like, making magical bubbles in a bathtub that we're both taking together going down on me. What's happening?
What? Hold on. That went all over the place. Like, all over the place. You went from just cave, babies, going down on you in a bathtub. What? Like, my brain is skipping so many steps.
And, like, because of course there was, like, a story arc, right? Like, there was a whole role-play adventure that we did with a group where there were other thieves and other princesses, but then we made it sexy, and then other people left, and then we just kept it up in the DMs. We were like, well, we don't have to give up our game just because, like, no one wants to play with us. Like, we can play the NPCs. We can do that.
Oh my god.
Just till 3 o'clock in the morning being like, yeah, and then my corset lace came undone a little. And I
My
blame Hot
God.
Mom. I blame Hot Mom because she handed me a stack of sex novels and went, here you go. So I just had
Honestly.
I had images and images, and I'd be like, yeah, and then my hair falls down across my shoulder, grazing my nipple, probably making you think that you want to graze my nipple. And
God.
just like, and not dating anyone in real life. Why? Because I'm up till 4 a.m.
You know what's interesting about all this, though? Is like, there's probably, I'm assuming we don't know this person, there's a man on the other end doing the same thing. And here's the kicker, it requires 2 hands to type a story. So the motherfucker isn't even jerking off. Like, so
Here's
this is impressive.
At some point, he, like, tells me or actually does enter a relationship with another player on this site. And then he's like, I don't know how I feel about this. I was like, we've been doing it for years. We can't let go of our characters.
Oh my God.
Think of our imaginary children.
Oh my God, the children.
Because this is the only action Natalie is getting in high school. It's the only action she's getting in high school. So while I'm getting, like, bold and having online sex with, like, men I don't know and building romantic futures, because that was always in my head, too. And then one day I'll meet him in real life, and even though he won't be able to make the sparkling, like, bubbles float with his wand, he'll still go down on me in the bathtub.
That's your goal in life. Oh my God.
I also think at some point, now it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
I also think at one point he made like an air bubble. He like made the bathtub deeper with his magical powers.
Ooh,
and then he made a bubble. He somehow made a bubble where we could breathe underwater. And then we fucked at the bottom of the ocean of the bathtub.
This is some Shape of Water shit
That's
here.
What I'm saying. Like, here's the thing. It was weird.
It was so fucking weird.
It was weird. But, like, in my mind, I'm like, D&D and sex? Let's go!
Oh my God.
Then one of my high school friends, who was a couple of years or a year older than me, she meets a guy online. And, Dina, when I say that we lied to our mothers.
Natalie.
We lied to our mothers, and we said, we're going to go to the lake shore for the day. Because, like, we lived by Lake Michigan. We're going to go to the lake for the day. We're just going to vibe at the lake. And we drove hours away from our home to meet some guy at Applebee's.
Stop.
Because my friend was like, if you go, I won't be murdered. And in my dumbass brain, that made sense. I was like, right, you won't murder us both. No, that's just called a twofer.
Oh my God.
So we go to the Applebee's, and I don't think he was expecting me on this date. We go to Applebee's. I don't have any money because we're also poor high school kids. So I just get like buffalo wings or something off of the appetizer menu. And you couldn't ask your mom for money because she's like, why? Just pack a sandwich to go to the lake shore. Well, right. Mother, I'm meeting internet strangers at Applebee's. So then...
Oh, that's so dangerous.
And then we went to a second location, which is something you never do. You don't go to the second location. But we went to, and we were paying with everything in cash too, which, like, that's dangerous too, because there would have been no trace of where we were. Oh, we went to the zoo, and like, she spent the whole day at the zoo, like, holding hands with this guy or whatever, and I just, like, walked paces or, like, an exhibit behind them. Just, like...
Oh my God, the cringe.
I remember talking to, like, one of the horses in the barn. I was like, look at you, you're so nice.
Damn, I'm so glad this is episode, like, 20-something, because this would stop people from listening to us. They would be like,
they're going to be riveted. Do you think I'm the only person who has survived an encounter in the wild with someone that they met on the internet as a child?
Just you talking to the
I'm
horse in particular.
I'm a success story. I didn't get murdered or harmed.
The horse, though. You're just sitting there talking to a horse.
What am I supposed to do? I'm not on the date. No one's holding my hand. No one's holding my hand. No one.
Okay.
So, we were gone the whole damn day, and this was before we had reliable cell phones. We had, like, little brick phones. Our parents didn't call us once. We were gone all day because we also went to a mall, just the two of us, and, like, our friend from high school, he was either also in that town or he drove. He was a maniac too, so he probably drove. And we saw like the latest we saw Man of Steel. We saw a Superman movie with him. So we survived, is what I'm saying. We met a stranger on the internet. And I was 15. I don't think I was 16 because she drove because I couldn't drive. I mean, I couldn't drive until I was 17 anyways, but I was like, she was of driving age when we were friends and I was not because I was a couple years younger than her.
Right.
But she was like, yeah, will you come to the, like, we're going to go to lunch and then we're going to go to the zoo and I just would feel safer if you're there.
I feel like if you say that sentence, you probably shouldn't be doing the thing.
But there we were, going, and there I was every night having, like, BDSM, like, magical sex with a guy who had pretended to kidnap me first. So I do think that we would do, like, sash and scarf play. It's all coming back to me.
Opening just a weird door of memories.
It's just things that... Yeah, we would do a lot of weird sex stuff, right? Because it's the internet. There are no consequences. You're just reading. You're just reading. You're just reading it. Typing.
Do that again? What was that sound?
Typing. Until 5 o'clock in the morning. My parents were like, I would come home from high school and I would just like immediately fall asleep in the couch. And I changed my whole sleep schedule to have internet sex every night.
Oh my god.
And yep, was I fucking a lot of dudes on the internet? No, still only like 2 dudes. Like still very monogamous. Ooh, wait. Ooh, it's all coming back to me now. I think when the one guy on Gaia who kidnapped me got into a serious relationship with a chick, and then I think that chick like also feigned a pregnancy or something, and then
you cannot casually insert. Oh, she also feigned,
or she had a kid, and that's why he was so attached to her. It was weirdness. What if this guy comes back? What if, I think he was like, well, you know, our buddy who role plays with us, like, you like him and he likes you. And I think I started fucking that guy on the internet.
Oh my god.
I just, like, went, Like, it's all just, you're just reading. There are no consequences. Uh-huh. I was obsessed with internet sex, and I think it's why I love sexting so much now.
Yeah.
Because sexting is just it's just AIM sex with pictures.
That's true.
Because this was before like webcams were like the webcam was like really grainy or whatever. Like no one was getting high def pictures of like a 15. There's no child like inappropriate pictures of me on the internet. I don't think. That's not coming back to me now. But I didn't send any pictures. Like, these guys never knew what I looked like or whatever. And that was part of the appeal, right? Because, like, I could be anyone. And that's the appeal of D&D. Like, you just create your character and you look the way that you look and you find a stock image on the internet. And then before you know it, some guy is fucking you in the woods.
That is such a perfect explanation of the internet.
You can just, and like, I never got into that. Is Second Life a thing, or is it a thing that teen dramas made up to put on it?
It is a thing, yes.
So I never did that shit where you, like, made your person and some people had, like, fox ears.
Yeah, I never did that either.
No, I only did Gaia online. That's the only one I would do. Because there was still, like, a distance to it because we were all just 2D little avatars.
Right.
And you weren't, like, walking around. Like, it was basically just email sex.
Right. And now you have, like, VR.
Right.
Like, you can actually, like, move your body.
Mm-hmm. I could be into that. Did you think that's weird?
I just think it's strange. Like, it's providing such a real form of escapism for so many people. Like, you really could live, literally, your whole life, movements, behaviors, all that stuff online.
You could.
Physically. That's crazy.
That's how Ready Player One set us up. So my internet relationships were very hot and heavy and sexual, but also in, like, the most non-sexual ways because of how early I started out having internet sex.
Right.
Just words, emails, and forums.
Right.
What about yours?
Oh, so, my God. Like, my story of just internet sex and relationships and all of it goes from, like, so young to, like, I mean, so now. It just goes for my whole life, basically, because I've talked online since the days of MSN, like, vanilla World of Warcraft, like, Diablo 2, these games, like, all since then, I have been around on the internet. And, I mean, it's just a fact of me being a gamer, you know, and being in my computer all the time and loving computers, so. But on MSN, oh my God. So on MSN, you could go to public rooms, like, and they were all, like, named.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were named, like, the location that you were going to be role-playing in, basically. Like, they were role-playing chats. And so you would go in, and let's say it's, like, one that was so common, I remember it so clearly, is, like, the tavern, right? Yeah. The grand old tavern.
This is a lot how Gaia worked. You just...
Exactly. So you would, like, go into this chat room, and then you'd be in the tavern. There's no images. You're just imagining.
The theater of the mind.
Exactly. Like, in your mind, you were imagining being in the tavern. And, like, because this technology was so bad, basically what you would have to do every time you entered in to one of these chat rooms was, like, paste a paragraph that you had written up about your character, like, lore, and then it would end with, and then I walked into the tavern.
That's exactly how it was. A guy in the first post in every forum was the profile that you had to copy, paste into your message, and then fill in all of the questions that they wanted to know.
Exactly. And so then you would just start interacting with the people in the chat room who were doing different things. And so I
want everyone to know that it was very fun.
It was actually, honestly, it was really fun because it's D&D in its most basic form.
D&D,
I feel
but
like
it's porn.
Oh yeah. So I would join these rooms, and my character, which is so fucking cringy, was like, you know, Zelda from Legend of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
It was Zelda, but like rugged Zelda, like a Zelda that was like, you know, ran away from home and like became like this awesome fighter and archer and whatever. So she looked like rugged.
I love this because all of my princess characters were so dainty and like the Bridgerton bitches of Gaia, like just like with my fingertips always together, and I talked like this, and I was like, please don't kidnap me, sir. Please be nice to me with your penis.
Me, on the other hand, I would be like this rugged, like, I don't need nobody, I'm a loner. But then this man would come up, and he would I don't know, help me with something, and then I would be like, nice, I guess. Like, it's just so cringy. Like, it's so cringy.
So much fun.
But unlike you, I don't think I had, like, a one-on-one things with people. Like, not for long term. Like, we would go to, like, the DMs, right? We would meet in the group chats and then go to DMs. But then, like, I never, like, held any kind of, like, relationship with those people. Like, I was a hoe. I would talk to anybody.
Years.
That's crazy to me. Like, crazy. Especially in the text only time of things. Like, when you didn't, like, hear anybody's voice or picture or anything. It was just, like, text.
I think I did it wrong.
No, I don't think you did it wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of people that did it the same way you did it. I'm sure. That's just, honestly, it makes it more wholesome. I feel like your way, because you're like, just the one person. I love that.
The one person who's repeatedly kidnapping me. I think we also had, like, a villain arc of his, too, where, like, his twin came and kidnapped me, and he was the villain.
Oh my god. His twin?
Yeah.
This is crazy. I love it. So, yeah, so I did that back in the day, but, like, when webcams became a thing, oh, shit! Like, like, I didn't do that much when I was, like, younger on webcam, but, like, now, man, with the tool of webcam, I can do whatever I want. I have straight up, like, been, okay, so, like, I would straight up on camera, like, this is OnlyFans level shit right here. Like, I could have put this content on OnlyFans if it existed back then, which it didn't. But, I would have my whole asshole out, like, ooh, against this chair, butt out, like, on camera. Like, I was literally a porn star, guys, like, on camera. Who knows? No. It would be people I made a relationship with, but it wouldn't be random strangers. That would be weird. But no, I was a straight hoe.
What were they doing while your whole ass was out? Because, like, I've never had
my ass.
So I've never had video camera sex because,
well, I mean, they would, you know,
because I just got my ring light like this year, and I feel like I need one of the taller ones to pull off video camera sex. So like, is it like? I don't know. I just feel like I'm more into what I was doing because, like, you could go into the detail of it, right? Where if, like, my tits are already out, you're already just, like, able to jerk it off. There's no, like, build-up or anything. Like, what's the progression?
These are people I had relationships with that I did this with. It's not people, like, random strangers online. I never did that. No. This is, like, people I've had relationships with. Like, when we were not together, we would do this over camera.
You did it with, like, partners.
Yes. No, I did not do this with random people. So.
I mean, but, like, no shade if you do.
No, I didn't, though.
Because all of this is fun. Like, I want all the tolerance to know that, like, if your kink is still going on to, like, an AIM-type website,
does it even exist?
I don't know, but, like, if you're doing OnlyFans because you find it, like, so gratifying to just, like, have these, like, people worshiping whatever sex situation, like, I just want to know, because, like, I don't know, maybe I'll get an OnlyFans account. Like, I just want to know if there's, like, Lord of the Rings role-playing on OnlyFans, where it's like...
Oh, I bet there is.
I'm one of the high elves of Rivendell, and you're like a hobbit for Hobbiton, and against all odds, we're making it work.
Oh my god, I love it.
I just want to know.
Actually, now I'm interested in seeing that.
I just want to know.
Just see the quality of it. I want to know the quality.
I just want to know if there's like a whole OnlyFans room dedicated to like people who are dressed like Disney characters but are swinging. Like, maybe Belle fucked Aladdin last night. Maybe Aurora and Jasmine get it on every once. Yeah. That's what I want to know.
What's going on in your brain? That's what you want. Okay, got it.
The first naked picture I saw on the internet was a mistake. I was in like the second grade, and my dad was like trying to show us the first like internet, and he was trying to show us like look, you could type in Princess Jasmine, and a picture of her would pop up, and it was topless Princess Jasmine.
Oh my god! Of course it was.
And he tried to like shut it down, and the internet's so slow. So first off, you have to like watch the whole picture load.
Oh god!
Like line by line, it's filling in Princess Jasmine, and then all of a sudden you realize that she's topless, and Dad's like, ah!
Losing his mind.
Ah! So that's what's going on OnlyFans. Are people still role playing? Are we?
Well, people can like request things from you too, and you can like you can choose whether or not to like fulfill it or whatever. But people will pay some money for like people cosplaying or things like that.
Listen, my cosplays that I've made aren't good, but here's the thing: I've got Medusa. She'll make you rock hard. Ayo.
Oh my god.
I've got the Feather Duster from Beauty and the Beast. So if you're into like French maid play, I've got you. I've got the Queen of Hearts. She'll take off your head. Ayo!
Oh my god. Get help.
Ayo! What else do I got? I got a fairy princess costume. I have a corset where it's just like all of the Marvel characters in their comic book regalia. What else do I got? I tried on my prom dress to see if I could still cosplay as Belle. Spoiler alert, no I cannot. I cannot. That shit did not fit. But I'll take any old bridesmaid's dress that I've made and make a costume. I need to know. What if this is one of the new hobbies I hyper focus on? I'm just revisiting all of the hobbies from my youth. I'm making bracelets. I've tie-dyed. Why not have kidnapper princess sex on OnlyFans?
You definitely could.
I could. That's all I'm saying. Is it happening? And if it is happening, I'm interested. Which is surprising because I don't like online dating at all.
Well, you wouldn't have to like form relationships with people, so.
But maybe that's what did it for me with online dating now, because online dating now is so boring. It's so boring. I like throw a witty one-liner out at a dude and he just drops it and just goes, "Hi."
It is very disappointing.
And I'm used to like constructing fantasy worlds and age-long marriages.
Oh my god.
With strangers on the internet that I can't even see. And I think that's why it makes so much sense for why I did it as like a 13 to 17-year-old, because it immediately dropped when I went to college. I had no interest in it. And I think when you're in that age range, at least for me, it was more about the fantasy about it than it ever was whoever the guy was on the other end of the computer. Because I never actually really thought, like, oh, what's he like? Does he have a dog? How does he take his coffee or whatever? It was always like that very hyper-focused, we're sitting in front of the computer, like, let's build a fantasy. It's like if the guy on Virgin River on Netflix would just turn to the camera and just start talking to me. Yeah. Because, like, these guys could tell you anything. And, like, they still do on dating apps or whatever. It's just that no one's as creative as these guys that I was talking to in my youth. And it's like, and I think that's why I have such a hard time, like, connecting internet relationships and getting very involved with them, because it's like it's all just a fantasy and I'm not down for fantasies anymore. I'm way more grounded in my reality now than I ever was as a teenager. So like fake relationships and relationships where we never did know one another and we were just like making it up day by day and telling ourselves a bunch of platitudes that were never going to come to fruition was like such a big safety net for me to just go like buck wild.
Interesting.
But I cannot create that same chemistry on Tinder or Bumble or anything.
Yeah, definitely not.
And it's also like now we actually go out and meet these people, so you can't just have random internet sex with them and leave it at that, because now everyone's expectation is that you do meet. Back then, there was no expectation to meet. You were going to be an after school special. But now you could have like this really great imaginative, like under the sea virtual sex thing, and then like meet the dude and just be like super disappointed.
Ooh.
And I've already been like super disappointed personality wise with guys on internet dates where it's like they seem really funny and they seem like they can vibe or whatever, and then you get there and you're like, were you just Googling what you should have told me? Did you have a wittier buddy like text me on these apps? How did you arrive here?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't, the fantasy does not meet the expectations for sure.
So like when you were doing the MSN rooms or whatever, like, was that what it was for you? Did you find it fun because it was like such a fantasy and everything could just be made up or whatever? Or like what was it doing for you that the guys in your hometown weren't doing for you?
I mean, I think it was just that I kind of really, I didn't really think about boys in real life like that for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think on MSN, I could be this completely different person. Like, I really could be an adventurer and have a bow and have a sword and all this stuff. Like, all that interested me, the fantasy of it, and creating my own character and or taking one and kind of modifying it and making it my own. So
did you find it very easy to like take this like mine was a princess?
right.
Like I am always shocked by how easy it is for me to take a texting relationship or even like this role playing relationship and go add a little spice and then it's sexy.
Oh yeah, I think on the chat rooms too,
Mm-hmm.
it would say like there were some kind of identifiers. I don't know what they were, but like it would be like 18 plus or blah 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 whatever, which nobody followed. Like nobody. We were all of us were in the 18 plus even when we were under 18. Like everybody was, so because everybody was lying about their age. So like it just that's what you did
because it's the internet.
Exactly.
How do you find yourself like, because we live in a very internet forward romance lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you find your viewpoints on like internet dating and like what's going on and a longevity or even seeing potential in an online relationship going?
Yeah, it's hard. Like back then, I think I thought that because I've had so many, relationships that have real life relationships that have come out of internet,
mm-hmm.
relationships. So I think back then I thought that it would last,
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is until you are in person with someone multiple times in different situations, like you cannot truly understand a person and how they react to situations and who they are. And I think that was really the crux of most of my internet relationships or relationships that came out of the internet, is that I didn't really know the full person, and then that you see them in person and you interact with them and you're like, oh, they're actually not super social. Oh, they're actually really awkward, or oh, they don't know how to deal with these things. you just don't, it's just different. Somebody is just different. So now I don't gravitate as much to online relationships as I used to.
And I do just feel like you get to prolong that, what I call the fill in the blank moments of a relationship, where I will literally just make things up about you and be like, oh, he's this kind of guy and he's so funny, so that means he'll be the life of the party and this, that, and the other. And then from my shame relationship, it's well, yeah, he was funny, but you took him to a party and he'd turtle up, be pissed at you because you're the belle of the ball and all of it. So even when I did that online, and I shined at it because I can spin a story arc or whatever. And a lot of this role playing from when I was younger played into that. But then we get into the real world, and it's I was telling Stephanie from one of our former episodes today, I was remember when I thought that he was a really great guy to date because he would text me good morning every morning? That's where the bar was.
Right. Saying something to someone in the
morning. Gosh. And then he'd make me dinner once a week, and I was what a great guy, because I was still holding on to the fantasy of the guy who on a black screen on a camera would tell me things well, if I had to get you an engagement ring, it would probably have to come from a Victorian house, be haunted, and be any jewel that isn't a diamond. And I was yeah, that's my aesthetic. And I made up in my head oh my God, we're already so connected, and he already gets all of these things about me. And then I picked him, and then he told me that all of that was just him bullshitting to have something to say.
That's the thing. I feel the not being in person makes people, I say this all the time about the internet. People say and do things on the internet that they would never say or do in person.
Right.
That's why people on the internet are so shitty, is because they're behind a screen and safe, quote unquote. But in real life, you would never say any of those things to your friend or even a stranger. It's insane. So the internet allowed you to to put on a mask of what you think people want. Even I did it. I'm so guilty of doing it. I remember I used to change my, I would make my voice higher because I thought people wanted a more feminine woman or girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking back on that, I'm that's so cringe. I was basically lying to everybody.
And do you think that I've ever done scarf play in the woods in my real life? When I think about all of the things that I was willing to type out to strangers compared to how I ask for my partners to pleasure me now, it is night and day.
Right.
Because I don't ask my partners to pleasure me for whatever reason. I believe the best in my partners, and I think they'll just want to do it. Jebaited.
And that's the thing, is we all the internet. I feel in so many of my relationships, I got jebaited by someone. Mm-hmm. If it was an internet relationship, because they would tell me things that I wanted to hear, and they would I basically thought they were a different person, and then I meet them and I would ask about that thing that they told me about themselves, and you could tell them getting they weren't telling 100% of the truth. They were
right.
You know what I mean? Then you find out, oh, not really, I didn't actually do that thing, I was just saying it to impress you. And I was why would you lie to me? You literally would lie. It's because they're comfortable behind a screen.
One of the first fights Shamer and I had was over the bullshitting thing. Because, once I started to realize that a lot of the things that he told me on the show were bullshit, and a blank screen and the mystery of it all just took me right back into fantasy land. Oh, I was pissed. And he, my dad famously blew off my sister one year for Father's Day. She had planned this entire day for him, and he chose to hang out with the boys and do car things instead of go with her.
Yeah.
And I at that point said, not one more Father's Day. Fool me once, shame on me. Blow me off twice, fucking die. And and I was telling him this story because we were talking about Father's Day. It was coming up, and I was like, oh, I don't do that. I don't do that. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, because if it was important to my dad, he would have made it important when my sister planned everything for him and he found something better to do. And I went through the whole story with him. And he looked at me and he went, huh, your sister's that boring, huh? Wouldn't think it. And I just like looked at him.
Okay.
And he kept waiting for me to laugh. And I went, is that what you got out of that story? And he's like, I mean, yeah, your own dad didn't want to hang out with your sister. She must be pretty boring. And I went, I really need you to think about what you're saying to me right now and take in my visuals. And he's like, it's a joke. I'm funny. Do you not want me to be funny? I was like, here's the thing. Comedy is only comedy if people are laughing. You don't actually get to decide what's comedy. Your audience does. Ask any stand-up comedian. It's out of your hands as soon as it leaves your mouth. That's why they keep notebooks on stage and they cross shit out. They'll be like, never again. I will not say that one ever again. We watched Taylor Tomlinson do it at Funny Bone. Yep. Remember when she looked at us?
She was like, that one didn't land.
She looked at us and she went, so it was relatable but not funny. I can work with that. And she made a note.
Yep.
Relatable but not funny. I can make it work. And so I told him, I was like, comedy is only comedy if I'm laughing because I'm your audience. And we had like a fight. He's like, I feel like you're trying to change me and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, and he told me, he's like, everything I say is bullshit all of the time. That's what I'm doing. I'm always bullshitting. And I was like, well, so if everything that makes me upset that you say is bullshit, everything that you say that makes me happy is also bullshit by that logic. If everything you say is bullshit, then anything kind you've ever said to me is also bullshit. Tell my brain it's wrong. And he just like stuttered. And I was like, uh-huh. So maybe you should really think about being genuine.
Yeah.
But like in my head, like all because it was on the internet, it was like, oh, he's so kind and he's so humble because he like curls in on himself while he's talking to me. And he texts me good morning. And before we met in person, it was all rosy posy.
Yep.
But as soon as he was in person and that veil lifted, I was like, fuck, again.
And now we have the age of men who can't communicate in person because they've only done it online.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's not just men, I should say. But the ones I have encountered,
I was screaming. I was screaming to Stephanie today on the phone while I was working because I was like, we are in the age where we have the internet and any information that you could have is but a button away. And somehow, instead of becoming X-Men and evolving, we should be fucking X-Men by now. We've gotten dumber. Yep. We're the fatsos on Wall-E. Yep. We've gotten dumber. How? How? We haven't gotten funnier, more entertaining? X-Men? I was really hoping I'd be an X-Men by now. No. And I do feel like the pandemic has really compounded this too. A lot of friends and I are talking about how like you go out with people that you haven't seen since before the pandemic and you sit there with them for a couple of hours and you're like, oh, for an entire year you really did nothing. And they can't like talk to you and they're like awkward and it doesn't flow anymore. And like, I know personally, like I did a lot of reflection and a lot of growth and this podcast came out of the pandemic and just like a lot of knowledge about myself came out of the pandemic. And when you're sitting across for someone who was just in the lost year,
Right.
It's hard. So I feel you when you say that, like, I keep going on so many boring dates. So many boring dates where I'm like, just say anything. Have you read a book? Have you seen a movie? Do you know how to make a cake? Literally anything. And they just stare at you.
Oh my god.
And then
So
when
cringy.
And then when you're interesting, so many times the date ends with me going, wow, you'd be really intimidating to date, but I'd love to hang out with you. Can we be friends? Absolutely not. You'll get to suck out my energy.
Yeah, true.
The internet, this whole journey where it became a place for such high self-expression when it was all new and not part of our day-to-day, and now it's the thing that's like ruining people's interesting qualities. It's such a mind bender when you think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I guess we'll move into takeaways, which I think mine have to change. Let me just make up a takeaway on the fly.
We're gonna have to do another one because I didn't even get to 90% of the things on my list.
Were you not done with your story?
Oh no, I have like 4 other stories, but
you went silent for so long. I thought you were done.
Oh, I thought I was waiting for you to react, so I didn't like want to go on. It's okay.
You can't give me
it's alright.
We could do. Listen, because we don't have our guest for 2 weeks, we could just do a 2-parter next week. I would have to think of more things to talk about the internet, but we could do it. Or we could save it for a guest. I thought you were done. You were literally staring at me.
No, because it looked like you were going to say something. Oh. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to wait because it looks like she's going to say something.
Well, hell, where are we at? Where are we at on time? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. We're pretty fast.
Oh. Okay. Well, that was my bad. I misread a cue.
It's okay.
I misread a cue. But we did have a good conversation about, like, it's fine. We're going to do another part. There's always more to share. We're not done, everybody. So my takeaway is fantasies are all well and good. I love getting swept away into a fantasy, and I am still very much prone to it. However, as I continue to age in this world and am more grounded in reality, I find it very hard to trust the face on the other end of the screen. And I don't know what will even combat that, except for I've sped up my timeline on when I actually want to meet you, so I can just eliminate you sooner.
That's actually smart, because I just get so bored in the talking phase that it doesn't even make it to the dating phase, because I just hate it. Like, yeah. I hate it. So.
And then my manifestation is that I do somehow find a way in 2021, especially post-pandemic, where we're all still trying to figure out what the new social landscape looks like, to find a way for where dating casually still works for me. I think it's very telling that, like, even my online relationships were monogamous, and I just hope that I can grow past the point, now that I know that I don't want to be a mother and I'm not sold on being a wife, instead of thinking about forever, enjoying more of the moment with the people that I'm meeting, and then that way more romantic connections can happen in real time in the real world.
Yeah. I'm worried that there's, like, there's gonna be a time that the internet has stunted us so much that we're not gonna get those moments even in real life anymore because everybody's gonna be so socially awkward. Like, they can't function.
I'd also like to apologize for saying the word fatsos when it came to the Wally people. I wanted to say lazos. And fatso.
I didn't even register fatso when you said that.
I wanted to say lazo, and then my mouth just like popped out. But we know, in the hovers.
Well, they are fat. I mean, they're fat. Like,
but we just had our body positivity episode. I can't.
But fat isn't a bad word. It's just a descriptor. That's the thing. Just like you would say somebody's skinny or somebody's tall or somebody's short. It's fat. It's all the same.
See, this is my fat phobia and anxiety playing because I don't know what the rules are anymore, ever.
Yeah, fat's okay. It's the fact that we make fat seem bad that's not okay. Fat is a normal word.
Okay.
You're fine. You're okay. Fatso may be pushing it a little, but fat is fine.
I meant lazos.
She meant lazos, guys.
I did.
So for me, for all the online people that I wasn't actually interested in, that I just used for attention when I was younger, like, my bad. My bad, y'all. But I'm so glad that I'm in a place now where I can identify that behavior as being, like, a result of my poor mental health and not a good move. Like, that's not me anymore. And for my manifestation for me and everybody out there is that I hope that we can step away more from the internet and experience life more authentically with people face to face. I don't want to like diminish online, relationships or online long distance relationships. Like I think that you can make a connection with people. I have so many online friends, but I feel like we're focusing so much on the internet now that we're losing sight of reality and the real thing, the real world. So,
are you ready for plugs?
Yeah.
Okay. So, make sure to like and subscribe because there will definitely be a part 2 to this episode at some undetermined time. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment about what you're enjoying, and we can start highlighting great reviews. I would like to take a time right now to highlight a great review that we got, and my phone shut off, so I'm not prepared.
It's okay. I fix it all in the post.
This show rules! Hey. Funny stories in a different perspective than I usually have. Literally, the first episode I heard had a story about a dead bird in a freezer. I was hooked from there. Keep cracking out awesome episodes. That's from the dudes from the Going Hollywood podcast. They're always super hyping us up, and I just want to take a personal moment to thank them because I hope that they'll still be listening to this episode.
Aw, yay! Thanks, guys.
And then our Instagram is at Men I've Tolerated Pod. My Instagram and my TikTok is at NatalieK124. We are still open to you tagging us in your story while you're listening to the podcast with a screenshot of what episode you're listening to. If you want to ask us a question that way, we could put the answer into the story. We could give you a manifestation. We're going to give you a manifestation anyways. And all of that. And if you have any questions about your relationships or you have a story that you'd like to share and one DM just isn't going to cut it, make sure to email us at menI've-tolerated-before@gmail.com.
All right. And you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is at ms.caboose, Miss Caboose. Give me a follow and I'll have a link to all my other social media on there as well.
All right, tolerators. If you are finding yourself bored and adrift in the land of the internet, remember, you don't have to smile through anything that you're tolerating. Well, I fucked it up. I fucked up my own tagline.
It's okay. It's okay. You got this.
Smiles are for joy.
Smiles are for joy.
Smiles are for joy, not tolerating.
Maybe I should get that piece, I could handle that one part.
The what part? The smiles are for
The
joy.
smiles are for joy.
I fucked up my own tagline.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Georgia and Karen never fuck up stay sexy and don't get murdered. But maybe it's because they make the audience say the and don't get murdered part. Alright,
See you later.
bye, tolerate.